In today's edition of Behind the News, we're here in Ottawa, Canada, where the local City Council has just voted to allow a controversial atheist advertisement to appear on the sides of city buses. The ads had previously been turned down by the local transport company, but an effective protest campaign waged by the Humanist Association of Ottawa has forced the issue before City Council. Behind the News spoke with David Burton to get some perspective.
Basically, the humanists believe that we should be using a logical, rational, scientific approach to address human problems, and the focus should be on this life, not some afterlife that may or may not exist. What do we hope to accomplish by this campaign? Atheists in general tend to be a invisible group in North American society. Religions have a power structure. They have churches and things like that. They have meetings because they have church leaders and spiritual leaders and religious leaders. They can have their views expressed, and they're like a pressure group or a lobby group. Whereas the atheists in general are not organized. They don't have a power structure. There are some atheist-type organizations. There's the Humanists, there's the Skeptics, there's the Brights, there's the Unitarian Church. There's a multitude of atheist groups, but I would say, and by and large, they're extremely small. Anyway, atheists are an invisible segment of our society, so one of the purposes of the ads is to make atheists more visible. Another is atheists are intimidated because if you express your atheist beliefs quite often, it invokes outrage or anger or discrimination or other types of negative feedback. And this is one of the ironies of the situation. The situation is that Christianity is supposed to be a religion of love and kindness and compassion. If you say you don't believe in God, the reaction you get sometimes is anger and hate. And it seems to me that if they were doing what they believed in, it wouldn't be anger and hate if you said you didn't believe in God. It would be compassion and sympathy. This poor individual's doomed, they're going to live the rest of eternity in hell, and boy, that's really, they should sympathize with you and make your life a lot more enjoyable while you're here, because once your life is over, it's going to be an eternity of excruciating pain. So you would think if Christians were as compassionate and as loving and as kind as they try to say they are, that they would sympathize with us poor atheists. I find in general that atheists tend to be more tolerant than people of religion. People of religion, like I say, and I cannot quite explain or understand why they react with anger and hate when you say you don't believe in God. Atheists tend to be more tolerant. If somebody says they believe in God, I think most of us feel it's their right to believe in whatever they want to believe in. So basically, atheists are quite willing to accept other people's belief. And if somebody says they believe in God, atheists do not normally react with anger and hate. But this campaign has caught on like wildfire. It started in January of this year in London, England. And since it started in London, England, it spread all over the world. Well, I'll turn around and show you the back of my shirt. It shows the cities in which the bus ads have been accepted. London, England is there, Barcelona, Spain. The original wording of the ad was drafted in London, England, and it was drafted in response to a bus advertisement that indicated that if you didn't believe in God, you would spend an eternity in the lake of fire. The purpose, of course, is to raise our visibility and let atheists know that we're not a small group. We are significant.
Well, the Ottawa City Council eventually allowed these ads, and we thought you might be interested in listening in to some of their debate.
The issue that's been raised is that these ads might offend. And it's no little interest to discover that there have been a number of ministers and rabbis who've indicated publicly these ads do not offend them. The fact of the matter is, the Supreme Court has already considered this question and has stated that the key is that people will disagree about important issues, and such disagreement, where it does not imperil community living, must be capable of being accommodated at the core in a modern pluralism. People are free to disagree with our beliefs as they wish. That's the Supreme Court of Canada decision. If we are to live in a free society that can accommodate freedom of belief, we must be tolerant of beliefs that are not ours. That is what the Charter protects. And as the courts have ruled, to pick and choose what beliefs can be protected or promoted is discrimination. And to forbid the expression of any belief contradicts our Charter. In fact, in one of the Supreme Court decisions, the essence of the concept of freedom of religion is the right to declare religious beliefs openly, without fear of hindrance or reprisal, and the right to manifest religious belief by worship and practice, or by teaching and dissemination. So this includes, dissemination includes, putting your beliefs on a side of a bus, even though that belief may offend someone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think this has been a very interesting debate, and I've been run through the ringer a few times on it, because somehow some people think if I speak up and say that I do not think this is a good ad, that it offends me, that I am wrong. But I also believe that I have the ability to have freedom of speech, just like everybody else does. And when I can speak up, that is my right to have freedom of speech, just as every member around this table and in our country can do so. And I strongly support our rights to do that, and always have. And also, although Councillor Cullen at one point told me I thought my Christian faith was getting in the way, I just want to say that's part of me, and that's what you're going to get. At the transportation meeting, it was made clear to the group that under our policy, they could advertise. They were never banned from advertising. But that the wording would have to change to meet our policy, which all the other religious ads have had to do, too. This is not something different for anybody else. They didn't want to do that. They wanted these specific words only, although I found I actually get a chuckle out of it, because there may not be a God. If they don't believe in God, then they're just leaving their options open by saying there may or may not be a God, because it's not really their viewpoint. But so they're not actually speaking on that. Some people have said, well, it's not really a religion anyway, so it shouldn't be under a religious one. But if they mention God, kind of God is usually connected with religions, but that's all just semantics.
This issue alone has garnered so much public media, it is ridiculous. Why? Because a certain amount of group in the population decided it was funny to put an ad in saying there might not be a God. Public property, when we're dealing with public property, we should never have offensive ads on public property, and buses are considered public property. Definition of offensive, I find it's offensive. A lot of other people find it offensive. Freedom of speech does not and should not ever be derogative about other people's beliefs. And the ad that we see on the buses right now and the ad that we're discussing today are derogative about possibility of a God. Respect is paramount. I will use my freedom of speech to vote against this motion.
Freedom of expression is the freedom